Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us today on our Following the Face Mask mandate. So yesterday, Judge Blackburn issued Directive number 7, which mandates face coverings in all public spaces. But that's kind of a broad term. So we went to our friends at AdventHealth to talk about what that means, what that looks like, what that even means as a person level. So AdventHealth is our sponsor for our StatusWise webinar, and we're so excited that they are. They are experts at offering health care for your body, mind, and spirit. The best care focuses on all aspects of your health at AdventHealth Central Texas, formerly Metroplex, Adventist Health. Their expert hospital teams and clean can help you enjoy a fuller care. We'll be taking questions at the end of this webinar, so if you have any, place them in the comments and we'll ask them live. I'm going to send it over to Rebecca to get in on this webinar. Rebecca?
Thanks so much, Jasmine. We are very blessed today to be with AdventHealth, and I have Karen here with me, who is our expert and is going to talk to us about all things face mask related. So first, Karen, tell us a little bit about you and what you do here at the hospital.
So I'm the Director of Quality, and that really encompasses the area of patient safety, the quality experience you receive here, infection prevention, and kind of the whole experience of how we bring it all together for you, the patient.
Great. So Judge Blackburn issued this directive stating that individuals, when they're out in public beginning Monday, need to be wearing some type of face covering. Can you talk to us first? Why did he issue that order medically? What is the reason for that?
So the reason for that is, as we've become to know who COVID is and how it operates, we now understand that COVID is a very tiny virus. It lives on a multitude of surfaces, etc. But the way it makes us sick is when it travels into our lung space and can infect us there. So the premise behind wearing a face mask is that we just want to prevent that virus from getting a ride on another droplet and taking a breath in where it would enter our body. So face masks are really the one primary way that we can prevent that. So that's why the mandate is very important. And the other piece of that is that we know that it's much more effective when everyone does it versus when only 1 or 2 people do it. So if we can get everyone covering, that's going to really dampen down the number of people being infected. So over some weeks' time, we'll be able to really reduce the prevalence of COVID in our community.
Fantastic. That's what we all want. So I see you brought a lot of things with you, and when you're out and about, I'm sure you're like me and you've seen a lot of different style of face masks, different types of face coverings. The judge's order really opened it up to a lot of different options. So can you talk to us about what are the different options out there? What's the most effective? Maybe what they're used for? Because, you know, I might think one is good when really that's not my best option.
Sure. So there's non-medical grade and medical grade masks. The good news is, for the mandate, any mask will do. The intent is that you cover your nose and your mouth, and the intent behind public masking is not that we're protecting you from others, but rather we all assume that we could be carrying COVID and be unaware, and so we don't want to spread that. So if you think of when you're having a conversation in a group, once in a while you see a little spray come out. It's really that and the unseen spray that I'm just going to keep off of you as I interact with you in the public. So that's why the face masking is important. So there's a lot of different kinds, and they range from a lot of these really pretty, adorable face masks that are seen in our community now. This is going to be fun because it's going to be with us for a while. So if you have girls in the house or people who are fashion conscious, it's kind of fun to match them to your outfit.
And that's a fabric mask, correct?
Right. And when you're doing a fabric mask, you just want to choose a fabric that's tight woven, so that it allows you the most protection from in to out. You want to be able to breathe, so you don't want something very heavy because it's hot in Texas and we need to be able to breathe, but a nice tight woven mask and something that fits your face well, doesn't have a lot of bag around it, is going to protect you really well as long as we're both wearing a mask. And there's also a lot of disposable options, so you'll kind of see kind of just a white paper thin, but it has nice protection. It's a really nice filtery kind of material. It has these nice comfortable ear loops, and it just goes right on, so you can wear that. And then there's all kinds of medical grade masks. There's ones with the ear loops. There's some like you'd see in the OR where they're tying them behind their head. Again, any of these will work, but there's not a requirement for you to seek a medical grade mask. Any mask will work. And the other things you can use are handkerchiefs, just putting it around your head, kind of like when you played cowboys when you were younger, and probably in Texas we did that a lot. So you can just tie that over, as long as, again, it's covering your nose and your mouth. You're going to provide that protection to each other when you're out in the public. This is kind of a fun, I think they call them snoods. You can find these even in the hair aisle, like they sell them to be a band, to keep the hair out of your face. So these are big enough that you can pull them around your neck and pull them up over your nose, which provides that protection. You can also get them at a lot of like the motorcycle stores, things like that. They have cool designs, and as long as, again, it's just covering your nose and your mouth, it's going to give good protection. And then from there it goes up. We have a KN95 mask, which is a heavy filter mask, and it's a little bit heavier in size. It looks more like a cone, and has the elastic mask. We have our N95 mask, which you'll see our providers who are wearing these when they're taking care of COVID patients. So this is the actual N95 mask. These are effective, but most effective if you're in an HR program where they can provide a fit testing. So these are the highest level protection we offer in the hospital, but really need fit testing and a little bit more technicality around it. And then there's even these that I've seen some folks buying at the hardware store. They kind of look a little Hunger Games kind of.
Looks like we're going into space, maybe.
Yeah,
I like
space-like.
it.
And these just have filters that pop out of them, and you change them every 60 to 90 days, depending on what brand they are. Again, this is a little high level and not what's really needed for the public masking, but you may see healthcare providers using these or the N95 masks. So they just provide a little bit more of a tight, secure fit around their face. So again, any mask will really work as long as it covers your nose and your mouth.
Fantastic. So you said it several times, the proper way to wear any of these masks, making sure you're covering your nose and your mouth. So what happens, you're wearing the mask, you walk into a restaurant, or you need to talk to somebody and they can't hear you, and you need to take your mask off. How do we properly do that to make sure that we're keeping it sterile and we're not spreading germs to places we don't need to be?
So optimally, we would choose masks that are not too thick, and that we would just elevate our voice so that we could talk with our masks on and not be removing them, because that kind of eliminates the protection that the mask is offering. So try to talk through that mask. If I'm not able to maintain that 6 feet, if I have a mask on, I can get a bit closer to you. One of the ways that I talk to people when I'm in a loud environment and we are masking now, instead of getting face to face, I'll go kind of ear to ear. So I'm breathing past them, but I'm talking next to their ear so they can see me. So if we're in something that's critical and I need to convey a message, I'll kind of bring that person next to me and we're looking the opposite way so that we can talk. But I don't really want to remove that mask. So just elevating your voice and having that. If you do need to remove that mask, so we'll kind of talk through the do's and don'ts of doing that. When you're wearing the mask, you don't want to wear it like this, right? Because your nose is still out, and so you're still breathing in everything someone might be offering you or what might be in the environment. You don't want to do that. You also don't want to, the common thing we're seeing is, right, we need our faces to get in most of our phones. And so I'm shopping, I have my mask on, and I get a message and I go, and I pull my mask down, I let my phone log me in, and then I put my mask back. The reason that that's a problem is every time I do this, if you think of COVID being kind of like a dust particle, it might be on this surface of the mask. So every time I do this, and especially if I kind of do a pop, right, like I grab it and I pop that mask back on, it's setting the potential COVID virus that might be on the surface of that by my nose. So when I pull it down, it's creating a little dust storm of potentially what might contain COVID. And so we don't want to do the off and on. So you might need to alter your cell phone. You might need to do other things so you can get in quickly, put in your little pin or use another mechanism as well. So we don't want to wear it with our nose out. We don't want to do frequent up and down. And remember, every time we're touching it, this is the dirty area. The place that's touching our face, we consider clean. So every time I touch this, my hands now have whatever that mask has protected me from. So after you're masking, you want to be using hand sanitizer. So those are kind of the things to avoid. When you're removing that also, if you're taking it off, you don't want to do this and have it just kind of hanging from one ear, because it's flopping, right? It's got all this potentially COVID stuff and it's next to my face and it's kind of waving in the wind and it's setting potentially some virus free. So if you're going to take it off, when you have it on, if you're going to grab it by both straps, take it off of your ears and take it off. So if I had this on, I would just take it off and off at the same time. And then if you're not going to wear it for a while, say I've been in the grocery store, I'm in my car now, I don't need to wear it in my car. When I take it off, I'm trying to just touch the ear loops, I push the inside, the dirty side in, and I fold it so that the clean side that was touching my face is out. So that way when I'm storing it in my car, it's keeping all the germs against each other. And then I know that when I put it back on, I can touch this part, put it back on my face, and I've avoided any kind of cross-contamination. So kind of folding it. If you have a mask like this, when you take it off, you're just gonna fold it halfway like this and put it somewhere. So some people are carrying envelopes in their purse and putting them in there. Some folks will stick this with the clean side in their journal. We do that a lot here at work. Or they're putting it in the little space in the middle of your car, but just really folding it so that the dirty side stays in. And that way, if you're reapplying it, you're not kind of flipping that around and hurting yourself with that.
That's fantastic information, because I know we as a society are doing that a lot. We put it on for just a couple minutes. We need, for whatever reason, you're in your car or something, take it off again. You only wore it for a minute. Can you safely reuse that mask, or do you need a clean one?
Right.
So as we're speaking about clean masks, let's say that you're wearing your mask and you're not touching it, you're not doing anything to it, but you're wearing it for an extended period of time. How long can you safely wear that mask before it needs to be cleaned or changed or something happens?
Sure. So if it's a disposable mask, what we're looking for is that it doesn't fit anymore, or that when I put it on, a lot of them have these little metal pieces in the front. I'm no longer able to kind of mold it to my nose, so it has a lot of gap. It's probably time for a new mask. And then if it gets wet, if I'm in the sunshine or I'm talking a lot, the vapor from my talk is making this wet. A wet mask actually attracts debris to it, so we don't want that. So once it becomes wet, we want to get rid of that mask and try another one on. So these, again, you're just going to throw them away. And of course, we're seeing a lot of habits in the community, so I encourage you all, just if you're not going to use it anymore, fold it again the way we talked about and put it in your car trash and get rid of it later. We don't want to find them in the parking lots or those other places, because that's just another problem with our community environmental safety. So we want to throw these in the right containers. If you're using a mask that's homemade, again, if it's wet, you don't want to keep wearing it. I usually just wear them for the day. So one way that we do this at my house is we just have a little cup here full of all of our little masks, and I tell the girls, pick the mask you're going to wear today. They wear it throughout the day, and then we have a laundry bag in the laundry room. So when you get home, everybody just puts their mask in there, and then every couple of days we just throw this in the washer. So fabric masks you're going to want to wash on the hottest temperature that's appropriate for that fabric, which is going to vary depending on who you get the mask from, where you get that. But hot is best. And then I just, after we wash them, I want to dry them all the way. Again, we don't want any moisture left in that fabric because that attracts debris. And then once they're nice and dry, I just take a hot steamy iron and I just zap them with the hot steamy iron, because again, hot steam is going to kill any virus. And then I, again, make sure they're dry, and then I put them back in the place so that our family can kind of reuse them.
Super. That leads to my next question. When they're not in use, how should we best store them? Do you need to keep them airtight where nothing gets to them? What do you recommend?
You know, it kind of is a personal preference. I think that I walk around my home and I touch things anyway, so I don't really feel any angst about keeping this in a bowl by my entryway. I don't have a lot of visitors coming in and out of the house during COVID time. If you're in an area that's more of an office space or somewhere where you feel like it might be more prone to having those viruses around, you could put them in a bag, like a Ziploc bag or a covered container, a cookie jar. You really could put them in anything, just keeping them out of the airflow, but not required, but a good idea if you feel like that's a risk for your household or wherever you're storing those masks.
Super. Okay, any last minute thoughts before we go to our Facebook audience and find some of their questions?
You know, I think one of the key things for us to get along in society with this is that when you put on a mask, you feel unseen. And so you start to also act unseen. So one of the parts that makes this hard is that nobody wants to wear a mask, and it's really not usually about how it feels on. It's a little uncomfortable, but it makes a lot of other feelings come up in our life. So what I'd encourage you to do is, while you're wearing a mask, use your voice and say hi to people when you're in the store. How are you? Have a good day. Thank you. Smile with your eyes. We can always tell when someone's smiling. So we have to be a little bit more overt with our kindness, but that's one of the ways that we'll make mask wearing a little more tolerable. And then if you see someone not wearing a mask and you feel compelled to help them, just delivering that with a message of love. You know, if you're getting your food and you see someone with their nose out, you just say, gosh, I care so much about you and I wouldn't want you to get sick. I learned that if we cover our nose, that'll protect us even more. So I wanted to share that with you because I care about you. They're much more likely to put that on versus some of the other interactions that we've seen in the public recently over the wearing of face masks. So this is really, face masking is just such an act of love to one another. And I'm just so thankful that we have judges and mayors who agree that this is how we're going to take care of each other. And it gives us the opportunity to really extend love to each other in a different way.
Absolutely. Thanks so much. Jasmine, help us out if you can. I know you've been monitoring some of the comments and questions. So what questions do you have for Ms. Karen?
So the biggest question that we have going on right now is, why aren't you guys wearing a mask right now? So can you guys just kind of explain why you're not wearing a mask, when it's appropriate to wear a mask, those kind of things?
So you want to be wearing a mask whenever you can't maintain 6 feet between each other. We are breaking the rules a bit because we're only about 3 feet from each other. But I went through screening this morning and Rebecca went through screening as we came in the building. We've had our temperatures checked and we've checked for signs and symptoms of COVID. And we did that really for you all because it would be hard for you to hear us with our masks on. But when we're done, we're going to be putting them back on. And the people that are in the room with us are also wearing masks. So very good question. If you can't maintain 6 feet, you should be wearing that mask.
We did both walk into the room with our masks on and took them off just so that we could do this for you all, because we understood that it would be kind of hard for you to understand us if we were wearing a mask. So forgive us this one time. We did follow a lot of procedures to make sure we could do this for you.
Awesome. So Miriam asks, should the mask fit tight or should it be a little loose?
That's really going to be a personal preference. I prefer my mask to have a snug fit around here, that as I'm breathing out, I'm not feeling a lot of air coming out around my eyes. If you're someone who wears glasses, that's going to be important because you'll get foggy if you don't do that. So these type of masks with a nice metal piece in them, or some of the fabric masks also have metal, will help you get that seal so you can see and breathe without having interruption. So I prefer a nice seal around the bridge of my nose, and then it covers my full chin so that I don't have that bagging. I like a moderate fit. I don't want it too tight because it can feel like it's smothering you a little bit, but I also don't want to talk and have it sliding down my face because then I have to keep touching it, which is kind of the second no-no of wearing masks. So every place that's making them is a little bit different, so you'll have to play with them. A lot of the fabric masks, what's nice is that just by adjusting this strap, you can make it smaller or larger. You can tie a knot in it to make it smaller. It'll pull it closer to your face, so you'll get a good fit.
Excellent.
That's awesome. And you kind of touched on it. So if you're wearing glasses, how do you prevent the fog? Do you have any advice on that? Because that seems to be a big issue for some people.
It really is getting that nice seal, because it's fogging because what you normally are breathing outward is coming up through your mask. So if you can get a mask that you can get a nice tight seal around the top, you're going to prevent that. A bandana may even be a good option for those folks because you get it really nice and tight here, but it gives you a little free space at the bottom for your breath to exit from there. So you might have to try a few different types and play with them until you find the perfect one to accommodate the needs you have.
That's great. And the last question we have, and you kind of touched on it in the beginning, but where would you advise people to get masks? Because it's kind of hard to find them right now. I mean, it's kind of one of the big things. So where would you advise people go look for masks, maybe fabric ones or alternatives?
So these kind of masks are going to be difficult. Even if you log onto Amazon, they say that they are dedicated to healthcare and you can't order them. I do find these in some of the hardware stores. So the same masks you buy if you were painting or you're doing woodwork, those will work. And then the fabric mask, it really just kind of look around. I've seen a lot of really talented young seamstress on Facebook selling things. Facebook Shop or Etsy has a lot of great vendors. And a lot of our major vendors now are selling them. I think Old Navy has them. Target may have them. So you're able to buy a lot, and they're coming down in price so that they're affordable and you can buy a pack of 5 or a pack of 6. And I like to do that, guys. I like to have the ones at home, but I always have an extra in my car. I keep an extra in my purse because I just never know when I'm gonna run out and need that mask. So especially now that there's a mandate and we want to be respectful of the mandate. So it's nice to kind of stock up on them. And then again, if you can't find the mask, it's absolutely okay to go to your Hobby Lobby or your Walmart and just pick up handkerchiefs. And they're usually, I think, $1 each. Just get a nice array of colors and you have those with you and ready to be implemented whenever you need them.
Awesome. That's really, really great advice. Well, thank you, Carrie and Rebecca, for talking to us about masks. The only last thing is, how can we get in contact with you, Karen?
I'm here at AdventHealth, so we can call the main desk or you can call the quality office at 254-519-8460. And you can leave a message there if we need to get in contact. We can help you out with anything you need.
Awesome. Well, thank you, ladies, so much.
Thank you, Jess.
All right, so we are going to talk a little bit about our sponsor, AdventHealth. You got to hear from them a little bit more about the masks, but they wanted to tell you a little bit more information. So AdventHealth Central Texas is offering extra safety measures for your protection. Advent Central Texas is employing the following safety measures and protocols to ensure you and your loved ones feel confident, protected, safe in our facilities. So when you're ready, they're ready. Universal mask use. Even in a pandemic, you can feel safe. They're stocked with safety supplies and have the personnel protective equipment, PPE, including masks for all patients, visitors, team members at their facility. Temperature checks. Have peace of mind that everyone you come in contact with has had their temperature checked before being allowed in. Every entrance, every facility, everyone entering. And social distancing. Feel confident you're doing the right thing to keep yourself and others safe. With limited visitation, new waiting room protocols, and more, you can safely practice social distancing. Separate waiting and temperature areas. Take comfort knowing your safety is our priority. COVID-19 positive and symptomatic patients are carefully quarantined away from patients and visitors. Enhanced sanitation measures. If you visited their facility in the past, you know their cleanliness has always been one of their top priorities, and that's very true. But now they're taking extraordinary new steps to ensure through frequent and ongoing sanitation measures are happening around the clock. They're a really great healthcare facility, and they're really there for you guys. So again, if you have any questions, call their main line there. We are launching our new webinar series called Status Wise, which this was our first one, but we're going to have one tomorrow. So the one tomorrow is following face mask mandate for businesses. So what does this mean for our businesses? I mean, there was a lot said by the judge yesterday, and maybe you have some questions for that. So tune in tomorrow and we'll go over what that means for our businesses. And then next week, we're going to talk about COVID in broader terms with Seton Medical Center, talking to them about what it means, what the spread looks like, and things like that. So we are going to start having webinars every Tuesday at 11 a.m. and Thursdays at 2 p.m. It's our new WISE series. If you want more information, please check out cleanchamber.com or follow us at Clean Chamber on the Facebook, Instagram. We're on every social media channel except for TikTok. So definitely follow us and let us know if you have any questions. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We love hearing from you guys. So if you're watching this past the live, drop your comments down in the comments below. If you have questions, then we'll definitely get it to AdventHealth and try to get you that right answer. So thank you guys so much. I hope you have a great rest of your Thursday.